All right, so you'll hear a lot about unconditional love. I've already mentioned it. What about unconditional forgiveness? That's not something you hear a lot of or very often, but let me tell you, it's one of the most important aspects of healing a lifetime of love. Feeling angry and bitter and resentful about something that happened never did anybody any good ever. But forgiveness and healing does a lot of good. It has tremendous power to heal and help. Yet people seem to resist it as if they were trying to fight off a fatal disease that they don't want to forgive. I remember one time in my life when I said about a person, believe it or not, this is true, I really did, say if being happy again means I have to forgive that person, I'll stay miserable. Now, I mean, how stupid is that? But listen, don't a lot of us live that way? And by the way, I did catch up. I did eventually forgive that person and got somebody wonderful back into my life. Not the person I did the most forgiving of, but a very nice person came back into my life anyway. Now, there's a reason that people resist forgiving. It's a kind of myth or a fixed idea, a false belief that when you forgive somebody, somehow it's letting them off. You know, they didn't get their just desserts. They should know they did wrong. They should be made to feel bad because of what they did to me. That's the kind of thinking, but when you hear me express it like that, it does sound terribly corny, doesn't it? But really, that's how people seem to think. And you've got to get rid of this myth that it's letting the person off. Because for one thing, you know, the person is never going to see themselves that they did wrong. They probably did things for the same reason you did. They did what they thought was right at an opportune moment. And let's face it, that's what we all do. But the idea you're going to get them to change your mind, or change their mind just because you're being nasty about it, forget it. It's a fool's game. And the thing is, you know, if other outside people, others around you were actually looking at things, they might not see it as that big a deal either. What are you making such a fuss about? You know, that could be really what you're facing up against. And another thing, the forgiveness isn't for the person, it's for yourself. You've got to understand that forgiveness is being kind to yourself. I think it was Mahatma Gandhi that said, the weak can never forgive, only strong people can forgive. Only strong people can afford forgiveness. But really that's how you've got to see yourself, that you're worthy of forgiving. You don't need to drag around this bitterness and hatred towards a person and this resentfulness. It's crushing you. Somehow we have the belief if we go on being nasty to that person and every time we see them we say, you lousy, especially if we can say it in front of others, so now other people get the idea that maybe something's gone on between you two that wasn't very good and you're not very happy about. Therefore, it must be the other person's fault. You've got to forget all this baloney, right? Forgiveness, in fact, is for you. It's for the self. It's being kind for yourself. The real point of forgiveness that almost everybody misses, and this is the really, really important point, is that forgiveness releases you. It doesn't just release the person who perpetrated this. In fact, the perp may not be released at all. In fact, it does work that way. We all understand psychic dynamics, okay? If you change your space, the other person will change their psychic space. So that's where good things come, and that's why someone you've been holding at arm's length with anger and bitterness will suddenly come towards you because you've evaporated the barriers. You've decided to release yourself. Indirectly, it releases the other person, but don't worry about it. Surely the important thing in life is to release yourself. And if you can forgive others, it means you're not dragging around hurt and upset and the feeling that there was some kind of injustice or betrayal. Now, there's another point, which is that, you know, hanging on to resentment like this is also kind of dishonest. If you think about it, you probably hurt a lot of people too. too. If you understand anything about karma, you'll probably realize that maybe you've done exactly the same thing to others as you're now whining that others have done to you. That's often the way it happens. You know, what goes around comes around, and how whatever you flow out will come back to you sooner or later. So if you're getting a lot of sort of criticism and attack and hurt, it's probably because you've been running through life criticizing, attacking and hurting other people. So you've got to remember this dimension too. It's about honesty and integrity. How can you possibly continue to be really angry about something somebody's done to you when, if you're honest, you've been doing it yourself over and over? Doesn't make sense, does it? And in fact, forgiveness makes sense in almost every mental and spiritual computation and calculation that you can think of. Hanging on to hurt, hanging on to resentment makes no sense. It hurts you, hurts others around you. You're probably indirectly hurting the person that you're claiming to be hurt by. You know, it's spreading and it's going everywhere. It's nasty. Whereas if you can forgive, all of those things evaporate, and even your own history will recede, that you no longer need to feel ashamed of some of the behaviors that you had in the past. But look, here's a special thing. This is kind of the final word, if you like, why forgiveness makes sense. Because if you can't forgive somebody, if you can't move on, then what you're saying, in effect, is you want to change the past. Well, only a fool would try and change the past. It's past. It's gone forever. It's not around, and it's not there for you to change. You can't change the past. So to hang on to it in a way that it cripples you and hurts you and deforms you emotionally is not smart, is it? Let's face it, it's just not clever. You're trying to wish for the past to be different. It isn't ever going to be different. So why bother? Why trouble yourself? Why not just release it back there and let's move forward? And it's amazing what changes you will see take place. A person, for example, has come out of a very dysfunctional relationship and still feels the anger and hurt and so on, has a great deal of trouble settling down into the next relationship. You know, we all know this saying, you drag your baggage with you. Well, often it's because you won't release it. You won't step away from the mess that you created with the earlier person. So that's one of the reasons you're dragging it around. So again and again, it comes down to the fact, if you want any kind of healing of the loves that have been in your life, you've got to forgive everything that was done to you. You've got to be the big person. You've got to be the one that can walk away, that can make this gracious gesture. And for the willingness to do that, and the humbleness and the honesty and the spiritual integrity to do that, you will be rewarded, because your next relationship will come around all that sooner. Or, the other thing that can happen, of course, is the past relationship will heal. Somebody you were with, maybe it's screwed up, but it all ended up in a bust and hating each other. Sometimes when a person forgives, the other partner will come back in a different sense. And because you're not driving them away with righteousness, making yourself right, and you're righteous and they're wrong, there's this crazy feeling, I need to talk about it, I suppose, in this series of Healing Love, that being righteous it seems to be based on a crummy computation, which is, if I can make the other person wrong and emphasize that they're wrong, that will make me right. Unfortunately, it doesn't, but people behave exactly like that all the time. People are trying to make themselves right by making others wrong. Okay, so that's my little parcel on forgiveness. I can't tell you how powerful this is. And to make a start on this, I want you to take out your journal or just a sheet of paper or a notebook, whatever you want to use. If you don't use a journal, but make a list of all the people that you feel have hurt you. And then we're going to go on and do some forgiveness routines with them. These are very simple, but if you repeatedly offer and surrender forgiveness to the people who have troubled you, things in your life will start to change. Trust me. Now, what are these forgiveness techniques or principles? Let's take a look at them. All right, first of all, you take each name on your list that needs forgiveness, and let's do a little Buddhist metta, as it's called. And with each person, I want you to say out loud. Don't just, think the thought. That doesn't work. You've got to say it out loud. You've got to hear with your own ears, yourself saying these phrases, okay? May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. Say it twice if you want. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. And then take the next person on the list and say of him or her to her and really mean it. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. So you keep bringing people off the list. You don't have to do all 25 at once if you don't want. Just do it in short bursts, but a few at a time. Say to each person, may you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. And then when you're done on the list, you've done a handful, you're going to move on. Then you say of yourself, I am happy, I am healthy, I am safe. And again, really mean it. I am happy, I'm healthy, and I'm safe. Now, for each of the persons on the list, you can do this lasting forgiveness process. And once again, you have to say to each person, say it out loud and really mean it. I fully and freely forgive you. The past is gone. All wounds are healed. I wish you well in life. May you have peace and blessings. May you find love. And you sign that off in the space provided against that person's name. You can do it twice if you want. There's no harm in doing it twice. And you can do it every day repeatedly. Then the next step, you think of somebody else that's hurt you. And you say to that person, and again, you say it out loud and you really mean it. I fully and freely forgive you. The past is gone. All wounds are healed. I wish you well in life. May you have peace and blessings. May you find love. So with those last two, you don't wish the person harm. You don't want them to be tormented with hurt and suffering. You want them to find peace and blessings. Listen, this was a person you once loved. Why would you be so nasty and spiteful towards them? And then finally, you wish that they would find love, because if it didn't work out between you two and that hurt you both, you're on your way to rediscovering love, but you wish it for this other person too. He or she is entitled to have as much love and happiness as you are. You've got to get rid of this nonsense, I behave well and this person behaved badly. We all behave in the same way, which is that we do what we think's right. We do our best. Even wicked people do things that they think is for the best. Whatever stupid context they've got running, that's still what they believe. Okay, let's now go to the queen of all of these processes, forgiveness, in the most beautiful, wonderful process of Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian practice of love and lasting forgiveness. And again, what you do with each of these names, take the name, say the following out loud. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. While you're at it, say to your nearest and dearest on earth right now, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Say it of all the people on your list that you've been angry and disappointed with and feel you've been hurt by in the past. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. These might be hard words to say, but you can understand the power. Now we're talking Hawaiian Ho'oponopono practice. This is from the Kahuna tradition. And strange things happen in strange spaces. We all know magic in the West anyway, but the Hawaiians are very particular about this phenomenon, passionate, that they call Ho'oponopono. And it's very lovely. And you can go through a whole range. You can say to the planet Earth, to Gaia, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. You can say it to God. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And finally, you must say it to yourself at the end of one of these runs. to myself, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And if you think that one through, it really will give you goosebumps. Okay, so this is forgiveness as it should be. And I want you to practice it as an art of living, not just a moment or, it's not like you take time out for a prayer. You'll live your sacramental life all the time, not just when you say a prayer or on a Sunday morning. Same with forgiveness. Forgiveness is a fantastic tool for repairing heart and mind and repairing relationships. Remember, every relationship has two ends. So if you change your end in a big way like this, you'll find the other end of the cable changes too. And that's where the magic lies. People will often just pick up the phone and say, I was thinking about you today. How are you? How are you doing? How's things? And they really mean it. And the person has reconnected. In fact, you might say the ultimate outcome of all these forgiveness processes is that a certain person will do that. And if you get that phenomenon, then you know you've done it right and you've done it well. Don't forget, though, to follow up. Say, oh, yeah, maybe we could meet. Or if, the person's now living in another country or another continent, well, do stay in touch. Remind me when your birthday was and send them a birthday card, right? Now, don't forget this one important thing. And this is a caution. You don't go and say to the person concerned, I forgive you. That's very wrong. It comes over as arrogant and conceited, supercilious. You're sort of judgmental then with the person. I forgive you. Once or twice when I've tried that, the person's reacted very badly. What do you mean? You forgive me? I didn't do anything to you. What are you talking about? And it stirs the hurt up all over again. Remember, you're working on yourself inside. You do not have to say to the person, I forgive you. They will feel it from your psychic space. More importantly, I would say you shouldn't say it to the person concerned. When he or she finally makes the connection, just walk on. Don't say, oh, well, I've made all these changes. I'm not troubled about the past anymore. Don't say any of that. Just say, hey, really nice to hear from you. Do you want to meet for a coffee? Or if that's too strong a first move, really nice to hear from you. How you been doing? And how's the career, the family, or, whatever's been going on in that person. And show that you are loving, you're kind. Forgiveness it's a done deal. It's out of the way. You're not troubled by the history anymore. These are very big thoughts and feelings, and this is what led Mahatma Gandhi to say that the weak cannot forgive. Forgiveness is something only that the strong can afford. All right, hope you enjoyed it, but please do it. Thank you.